a hugely emotional evening for the likes of Dimitri Zarzewski and his team. There's Greg Garner, the man on the whistle this evening, a local, it has to be said, lives in Cardiff, so has done plenty of games here at Parky Scarlets.
I think it's time here to button yourselves in and get ready for a pretty emotional, physical opening 15 minutes here, Woody.
Certainly is, and the likes of James Davis there, the open side, has really got to get his head into gear and get his game into action from the word go. Chris Massari, experienced practitioner, was in Toulon's colours when they arrived here back in January, now wearing the colours of Les Ciels Bleus. Looking to get his influence on settling Racing down, and it will be a difficult start for the visitors, no question about that. There's John Barkley, captain once again of this Scarlets outfit, once again wearing the number 8 jersey. It was a bit of a looped pass that he wasn't really looking forward to. Now Davis. Turnover ball for the visitors. Casey Laulala out to Johan Hussen. The South African are being walked down by Henry Parks, and now the Scarlets thinking about mounting something from their own 22. But this is the ambition and positivity that the Scarlets have utilised through the opening 7 games in the Pro 12 to take them to the 3rd position that they now take. Hussen are a little ambitious perhaps. Actually managed a drop goal on his debut against Montpellier last year, and that was from 54 metres, but I don't think the inclement conditions are going to help that sort of ambition tonight.
I think the Scarlets will call that job done if you keep him to having 50-yard attempts and drop goal. But we see, it's interesting there, we see the influence of Stephen Jones, I'm sure. He's come in, they're going to try and keep the ball alive today. I think they're going to try and stress this Racing team and play at a tempo which will make things uncomfortable for them. Big, heavy pack, and they'll be looking to move them round.
Yes, the Scarlets' rhythm will be very interesting to watch, particularly in these opening exchanges as Hussen sends one high. Great chase by Marc-André. The kick just catching some of the Parisians offside. There's Dan Jones. What an opportunity it is for him this evening. His 5th start as fly half, but his first European experience.
This time last year, Wardy, he was playing for Carmarthen Quins in the Welsh Premiership, so it's a fantastic 12 months for that young man.
Yeah, and he made his senior debut in the LV Cup against Cardiff Blues this time last year, so a big task for those forwards as well. There's Luke Charteris, announced during the week that he would be leaving Paris at the end of his contract, the end of this season. Looks like Lewis Rawlins has got an early taste of this match. Blood replacement for his captain. Now in attacking mode as Davis offers himself. There's the bullock around the quick ball. There's Marcelino Paulino, the giant Samoan second rower. His fellow compatriot Jake Bull. What a big game he had at Franklin's Gardens last week. Owen looking for that incisive cutting thrust that could break the line. Davis feeds out to Dan Jones. Again, looking for that little offload around the fringe. DTH van der Merwe finding no way through there. There's one for Tanguy Thakambau, the Fijian flyer, coming off his wing as well. Everybody looking to get up early on the first catch of the ball. Lewis Rawlins taking the huge contact and releasing the ball.
Smart from the Scarlets early doors in these conditions. They've identified that second, third defender for Racing maybe a little bit wide. The gaps might be a little bit too big, and they're coming hard down that channel time and time again. Takes the ball out the air. It's not in the air too long. It takes the impetus away from that very emotional defensive line.
It's a very decisive tactical option taken early on by the home side. Ken Owens, delighted to be back in the fray. Hurt his toe for Wales against Fiji, and it's been a problem ever since. He was on the bench last week at Franklin's Gardens, but fit enough to start this match and lead from the front, as Ken Owens always does. The fans call him Cannonball Ken, and you can see why in the way he plays.
He's also known as the Sheriff of Carmarthen as well.
Well, the Sheriff of Carmarthen is right in the middle of that one right now.
Red.
The penalty has gone against his team. Sedat Gomez-Sarr, the very young tight end, 22 years of age, really been given added responsibility this season that he wasn't expecting, making his 5th start, would you believe, an academy prospect. Really, it's a very a good luck story, a feel-good story, if you will. Actually born in a Portuguese colony in West Africa, there he is, and in Guinea-Bissau. Mother came to France looking for a better way of life, and now here he is playing for one of the biggest Parisian teams. I told his mum won't watch him, she's scared of him getting hurt, but he seems to be handling himself quite well in the top 14 so far. Now, of course, making his European debut here this evening. Ladislas Loré sets the ball back for Machinot. Le Petit Général, as so many French scrum halves are, of course. Good take from Tanguy Takambau. Battle between Gareth Davis and Machinot will be fascinating to see how that pans out. Of course, it's dictated to in large part by the way that their forward packs work in front of them. Davis forced back. In the end, it's booted away. Booted too far. Adley Parks just getting a little too much welt to that.
Yeah, now Scarlets got to be careful here. There's been a couple of errors and they've conceded 30, 40 yards. European Champions Cup rugby is about not making mistakes, about those little things, doing the correct things, making the correct decisions and executing the simple things well, especially early on. We're going to go on about the weather again. It's coming down pretty hard now, Wardy, and this is going to be an important stage for the Scarlets. They'll be glad to see the return of John Barkley there, who's had a fantastic start to the season.
John Barkley back into the fray. One of the killer bees, of course, back in his Glasgow days. Remember Johnny Beattie, Kelly Brown. They were quite a trio there. Now working with James Davis and Aaron Shingler to effect a similar impact in this game. Right now, though, it is Racing who are driving their way towards that 22. Machinot looks at the short side. Joe Rokothoko, delicate little chip through. Machinot's after it. Has Maxime Machinot got it? I think he has. Well, how about that for a start from Racing? They worked that short side so quickly and so easily, and Machinot has got his 2nd try of the season.
Well, that's what he's been doing all season, isn't he? He's a little live wire in and around the breakdown. He's looked up, he's head up at the back of that maul, he's letting the forwards do all that hard work, he's identified then. Here we go. So it's first and foremost, a great setup. There's men in front of the ball, the body height by Racing is very, very good. The ball's at the back. The interesting thing here is he's ready to go. Machinot's in there, he's got his arms on the ball, he's commanding them, he's bossing them, he knows exactly where the defenders are. This is a wonderful bit of skill, you know, this is 60 odd caps for the All Blacks sort of experience, and that's a wonderfully taken try.
Great anticipation from the scrum half, and of course Rokothoko's beautifully weighted kick setting the opportunity up. Call Maxime Machinot the little washing machine. In this weather, it's probably an apt moniker. Home from home, looking to add the extras now off the tee. quite finding the kicking radar right from the first go, but a 5-pointer on the board, the perfect start for the visitors. There's Mike Phillips returning to where it all began. That's Machino's understudy at the moment, but appreciating the skills of the starting 9.
He'll be a guy that's be itching to get on tonight, won't he? He'll be desperate to put on a big performance and set the pitch alight in what is essentially his home ground.
Going ever present this season. Of course, an emotional week with all that's happened back home in New Zealand as well. He made his debut in 2003, was touted as the new Loman. One of 3 All Blacks in their starting lineup for Racing. Been an emotional week in more ways than one for those guys. Clearance from Alan Thomas. Racing pack are pointing to the fact and wondering whether Alan Thomas went back into his own 22. Let's just take a look here. It was Barkley. Now he's got his left foot inside the 22.
That's very, very smart from John Barkley there. You know, that's, you know, those sorts of errors you can't afford to happen. Racing are playing very, very smart rugby here. They're playing anything in and around their own 10-metre line, the 22. They're playing purely on territory, and they're trying to get the Scarlets to make mistakes deep in their own half.
And it's the set piece that the Scarlets don't want to be hamstrung by in many ways, much as they've got the best scrum in the Pro 12. That was an issue last week at Franklin's Gardens.
And the line-out has been an issue for them as well all season, so they'll be desperately trying to get away from those areas tonight and keep the ball alive as they did early on.
James Davis evading the thrust of Gomez Sarr. Getting the call. What a season it's been for the open side. Joint top try scorer in the Pro 12 and top tackler, second most turnovers, second most clean breaks, and Chris Masoe will know the threat that's coming from the Scarlets number 7 this evening.
It's 2 slightly different back rows there, isn't the balance is very different between the 2. Racing have got a slightly more physical, they're all a threat around the breakdown, but they're going to be far more direct than what can only be described as the athletic Shingler, Davis and Barkley.
Yes, it is a very different dynamic and balance that exists. Again, it's dependent on the type 5 as to what sort of opportunities they get this evening. But such potential and capacity. There's Phil John just unable to take that cleanly, but there was a penalty in any case. The knock forward from the loose head. Jack Ball, the man who had a really dominant game last week against the Saints, and much as he only got game time against Uruguay during the Rugby World Cup, keen and eager to prove his worth in the red of the Scarlets. Remitales making his second start now in new colours, of course, having moved over from Casque. Not sure whether he signed, which was this time last year, whether he knew a certain Dan Carter would be in the squad. There's Davis picking up the loose ball. There's Hadley Parks using his strength, another man who's put full minutes into the Scarlets' cause this season, played on both wings and now an inside centre. Now Dan Jones just getting caught a little inside his own 22. Forwards doing a good job of getting him away from the danger area, but they need the ball back. Ball puts his head down and drives away from danger. Somebody's going to have to put boot to ball. That man is Gareth Davis. As he hangs one eye for Hussein. There's Mark Andrea, a real pocket rocket of a winger. Up to halfway go Racing once again. The pass not quite to Henry Chavancy's liking, and volleying it over the bar, metaphorically speaking. That's
what happens when you get hookers playing 9, isn't it? But No, it's incredibly physical from Racing. Just from up here in the stand, you can see the Scarlets aren't making a lot of any real big dents in that gain line at the moment. But Racing will be very disappointed. They seem to be making an awful lot of mistakes, simple mistakes. You know, phases you feel against the Scarlets will go a long way.
Well, it's 8 days, of course, since the game was cancelled, and 2 weeks since they've actually played against Castres on the Sunday lunchtime, the weekend before.
There may be a tad over eagerness in there as well. You can see that, you know, they're all itching to get their hands on the ball. But again, you're seeing they're not playing any rugby in and around that 22.
Well, talking to them before they came out, they were delighted to be away from Paris with everything that's still going on there in the French capital. A sense of release, I think, getting the chance to come to Wales this weekend. Van der Merwe, an impact he's made since signing, of course, from the Pro 12 champions Glasgow. Jones into midfield where Jake Paul is waiting. This time opts to send his team up to the opposition 22, and that's good game management from the youngster.
Very smart from the young man. They're playing with fantastic width there, which is creating opportunities. It's putting space between defenders, and they've identified there that, you know, there's a lot of space in and behind Racing here.
We can see Alan Thomas taking the responsibility there at full back as well. He has the capacity, of course, plays at fly half as well, so there will be a certain amount of mixing and matching in that first receiver role for the Scarlets this evening. Short line out called by Racing now inside their own 22. Luke Charteris, so often the target, but it's Van der Merwe who gets his mitts onto the ball, and Chris Massawi who takes the hard contact. Oh, Tanguy Thakenbau, so worried about his positioning. Had his foot just on the line as he was trying to catch it, I think there. Very difficult conditions under the high ball. Lobbed into that middle, this time Charteris using his height to its best advantage. National feeds out to Leroux, making his first start since the World Cup. Bernard Leroux looking at that right flank again, the ball's got away. Rokothoko's outside Houston, and nobody is going to stop Joe Rokothoko. He's going to try against Grenoble, he's now going to try against the Scarlets, and it is a very impressive first quarter from the visitors.
What a wonderfully worked try. See, Racing got some early momentum from the line out. We're keeping the ball alive. They're just able to play just in behind that Scarlets defensive line. And a team like this, littered with their talent, with the pace they've got, when they get in behind you, it's very, very difficult. But that's as simple and as well taken a try as you will ever see at this level.
And it was the offload from Chavancy, wasn't it, that just opened the door for those backs outside him.
Just the effect not dying with the ball has just totally changes the focus for the defence, and if you can do that and just keep that defensive line retreating, you're always in the driving seat then.
Able to make the most of the man advantage outside. Now can National make the most of this opportunity for more points from the tee. 72 points ahead of this game, but only kicking at about 66%. He's sorted out his kicking radar now. Good adjustment from the scrum half, and Ronan O'Gara, the kicking coach at Racing, happy with that effort from his scrum half, and no doubt happy from the start from his team. Relentless rain continuing to douse the players, but Racing will be happy with the way that their engine is moved into gear and found the synchronisation that they were looking for. Remy Tanner's right in the middle of that.
They certainly don't look like a team that hasn't played for 2 weeks. You know, you can see. I don't think this is a true reflection of these action areas. The Racing looks very, very settled. They seem to have a very, very polished exit strategy. What they're trying to do is they're not afraid to go through odd phases. They're setting Scarlets up and then they're clearing their lines up to halfway.
What it does show, of course, is the 9% of the time they've been in the opposition 22, they've managed to register 12 points. And that's been clinical work from this Racing backline in particular. Now, the Scarlets need to respond, but they won't do it with that surge. Well, that's Wenceslas-Laurey, the former Biarritz boy, really doing the hard work on the floor and stumping Ken Owens' thoughts of mounting an attack inside the Racing 22.
Pete Edwards will be disappointed at the front of that, but he's done very, very well there. Wenceslas-Laurey, he's strong, he's over the ball, great body position. His centre of gravity is very, very low. Nice wide stance, he's over the ball, hands on. He's very, very difficult. We talked earlier about them being big men. Once they're in that position, unless you are very effective as first arriving player, you're not going to get him off that.
Sorry, unable to keep his hands on the ball as it gets wetter and wetter. The passing has got to be more accurate than that. Alec Thomas's little grabber ricocheting off shins and forcing the referee to come back for that earlier knock on.
It's good.
The way that Racing have opened up, it might surprise you to know that they are the only team in the top 14 not to have registered a bonus point, losing or try bonus point. And it has been an issue for them in the past couple of seasons of not getting enough tries on the board, but 2 tries inside the first quarter. They were delighted with that.
Well, it's a fantastic away from home start, isn't it? They come away from home in these conditions, rack up 12 points. They look like they're very much in their flow. They're not suffering with the ill discipline that they possibly have been in their early season form either. They look very, very accomplished, very, very settled at the moment.
Laurent Lebeat to Ronan O'Gara's left. Part of the dual management team with Laurent Travers. Gareth Davis to Jones. Jack Ball comes round the corner and struggling his way over the gain line, but managing to do the job. Scarlets now just trying to build things up, but the resistance from the likes of Bernard Leroux is fairly substantial at the moment. Parks trying to muscle his way through the tackle, but this is a phase where Racing seem to have the defensive certainty and muscle and communication as well that is just standing firm. Peter Edwards played the entire match in the last 2 games, very much one of the old school props. It's a lovely little chip through from Davis for Andrew, quick to read it and quick to think opportunity on that right flank. This time Chevancy's hands not helping the cause. Henry Chevancy, the local heartbeat for this Racing squad for so many years. He began at the club at the age of 11, now 27, and really has been the constant that they've been able to work around.
Greg, forward is down.
Look back through the history books, Chevancy has been a part of many a trip to Wales in the past. They've never actually won in any of those trips. They drew last year, you may remember that Ospreys game, 19 points apiece, and Greg Garner coincidentally was the man on the whistle for that one. And the last time they came here was the season before that, which ended 26-all. They've only once beaten a Welsh region in 6 opportunities, that the home game against the Ospreys last season. So Dmitry Zarzewski will know the importance of victory here this evening.
It's a perfect attacking opportunity for the Scarlets here. Notice they've gone with a 4-2 split from here, which is interesting with the four attackers on the short side. Suspect maybe a little Gareth Davis funny around the tail here, and see if he can exploit it, maybe create a one-on-one.
What a breakthrough World Cup it was for Gareth Davis. 5 tries, it's quite remarkable, making the most of the opportunity with Reece Webb out. It was a chance to see what that young man has in his locker. Now trying to do it in the red of the Scarlets. What can he work from here? Barkley feeds him, and they look to that short side. Parks out to Van der Merwe. Have to reboot the attack, led by Paulino. Phil John scored a couple of tries against the Dragons earlier on this season. Can hardly call him an arch try poacher, but certainly happy to get the ball in his hands, as is James Davis. Jones out to Shingler. Shingler staying strong in the tackle. Ball booted loose, and the Scarlets being forced back towards halfway.
Use it!
Keeping their cool.
Regathered. Use it!
Edwards recovering that ball just in time. There's the 6'8" frame of Paulino. Now they move it wide. Davis out to his full-back, but Rokafoko right up there.
That's a very impressive defensive set by Racing. It's noticeable here how quick they're getting off that line. What that does, puts all the pressure back on the attacking team. It takes the space away, it takes the time away from them. By doing it, they've hit 50 in 5 or 6 phases of play. They've gained 20, 30 yards from a defensive set. That's very, very effective.
You see from those stats how, you know, if you didn't see the scoreline in the top left of your screen, you'd be thinking that the first quarter, the first 25 minutes had belonged to the home side, but that's not the case, and that is just the execution of the visitors so far. Well, more European rugby coming up for you tomorrow. The Ospreys, another Welsh region, up against French opposition. That is a very tasty trip to the Massif Central tomorrow at 12:30 on Sky Sports 2 to see how Steve Tandy's team get on there, and then you can see the highlights of the entire weekend tomorrow at 9 o'clock on Sky Sports 3 to see everything that has gone on this weekend in the Champions Cup and of course the Challenge Cup too. And Thomas, in his 3rd spell now with the Dragons, had a brief tenure at Gloucester which didn't really work out, time at London Welsh as well and at the Dragons. With the absence of the Williams boys, Liam Williams and Scott of course out at least until the new year, is the latest prognosis. Regan King out as well with a hamstring at the moment. Thomas, fly half or 15, filling in at full back once again this evening. Machinor up to Tales, the straighter running of Casey Nalala, very popular in Wales of course when he was in Cardiff Blues colours. Advantage there I think from the knock-on. Gomez making the most of the absence of the likes of Martin Castrogiovanni, Luke de Calcon as well. Absentees from the front row possibilities. Look at the rest of the names that are missing: Teddy Thomas and Jean-Jacques Kuritsa, Klaassen. There's plenty of top quality names in that Racing roster. But it's a high quality outfit nonetheless. And they really have proved their class so far. in the first half an hour. Now there's a good scrum from the Saracens, but from the Scarlets I should say, but not unable to open the Racing side as LaRue breaks through. Quick ball there, plenty of options on the left hand side. Massawi surfs his way over for try number 3, and yet again Racing get into the opposition 22 and come away with points.
It's all too easy, isn't it? You know, the breakdown. It's all down to breakdown, speed of ball. You know, the ball presentation is very, very good. Speed of ball is very, very good. And when you've got guys of this size travelling at that sort of space, unless Scarlets get someone over that ball, slowing the tempo down, so give them some defensive organisation, they're always on the back foot. And what I like about this Racing team is how clinical they are. It's an excellent scrum from the Scarlets. They've taken the opportunity on the hooker lifting his leg to a second shove. What they don't do is regain the momentum and keeping the ball alive. Racing just through Bernard LaRue make a huge dent. It's great to see someone other than 9 play scrum half, and they're queuing up. One of 6 players could have scored that on the short side then.
It was clinical execution by the French side. Chris Massawi, the 36-year-old former All Black, really having great impact on the way that Racing have been able to play this season, even with those new components back in their lineup. Perfect strike from Maxime Machinot, and a nigh on perfect start from the visitors.
Wayne Pivac will be bitterly disappointed with this. This is not the Scarlets we've seen in the opening periods of the Pro 12 domestic season. You know, it's one that's been built on a great set piece, great defensive discipline, pride themselves on good breakdown work, good line speed. They're not showing this at the moment. Unless they manage to get back to grips with this Racing team, they could be under a lot of pressure. Yeah.
Barkley feeding out. This time to Alan Thomas to put boot to ball. And Hussein wearing 15 now. Didn't really rip up any trees last season, his first season for Racing. And here's another South African making a big difference. It's Bernard LaRue. Look at the burst, 25-30 metres from the open side. Philippe Saint-André in charge of France. He was pretty much a first choice. He really had the back row built around him. How Guy Novez is going to react, we've yet to see, of course, till the Six Nations. Line out not working, and Zarzewski unable to pick up the frisbee of the ball, slipping over the sodden turf now. Seventh season now with Racing. 92, of course, we have to call them now, not Racing Metro anymore. Caps to his rugby CV right now. Making his first appearance of the season for his club.
Set.
Going back for Gareth Davis as he feeds that Scarlet scrum. Takes the offload from his captain and puts in a delicate working kick. Hussein showing good awareness. Big tackle coming in on him from Edwards, but the ball's still there. Machinot setting the target for his forwards. Racing once again into the final 10 minutes of this first half. Turnover ball there. James Davis has got his mitts on it, and that's great work from the open side. That's what the Scarlets needed right now. They need to stem this flow coming from the visitors.
That's fantastic bit of skill. It was all. This is what modern rugby dictates. Everyone needs a 7 or jackler, as we call them. You know, someone who's strong, effective over the ball. He's in, he's low, he's like a viper, ball in and away. And it gives you such a lift to your team, especially when you're in immense pressure like the Scarlets are now. Even though they're playing, well, there he goes, he's first arriving player, he's in early, he's identified a small gap. And yet, again, this is all built on a wonderful performance we've been having in recent weeks. And last week, 3 turnovers against Northampton away from home is a wonderful accolade for him as an individual.
I wonder how he feels about his brother coming back at the end of the season. No doubt looking forward to playing with him in the Scarlets colours, and certainly has been a consistent force for the Welsh region this season. James Davies, former Wales Sevens captain, so much versatility to his game. Now looking for a little bit of muscle. John with his mitts on the ball. Gareth Davies wants it. Van der Merwe being a major irritant, forcing Davies to break away. Tanguy Thackenbauer comes on the crash ball but doesn't make much headway, and the ball's gone loose. That's another turnover that nearly went. Lorre frustrated that he couldn't make the most of it.
He's done the hard work, he just wasn't quite able to keep hold of it, was he? But again, we've seen a world-class operator at the breakdown identify just a little bit of a disjointed attack, a little bit of separation between ball carrier and first arriving player, and he's in, turnover.
See Tanguy Thackenbauer almost breaking that gain line and setting up the target, but Lorre so quick to react to the loose ball.
What they're doing, they complement each other. We saw Zarzewski in there. He's making 2 attacking players clean him out. What that does, that means it's not one man, one bullet, as we say. It means there's a space for someone else. It means Scarlets then got to put a 3rd attacking player and a 4th attacking player.
So, first scrum where you put too much weight. Okay, so discipline, hold your weight. Okay. Okay, so hold them back.
Aaron Chingler.
Second.
Such an athletic number 6, very different type of back rower from the likes of Leroux and Lorre.
Set.
Big scrum for the home side. Barkley having to flip the ball back. Gareth Davies doing very well to pick it up. Now Davies trying to work his way through some very heavy traffic on that left flank of Racing. Ken Owens picks, drives. Scarlets have got to make sure they don't get themselves isolated through these pick and drive stages. As Jake Ball. You can see Racing not over-committing to those drives. Shingler gets the offload to Davies. Round the corner comes Paulino. The runner's offer.
Tackle!
Parks taken down, but the ball's still there. They go phase and phase again into the final 5 minutes of this first half. The Scarlets looking for their first score on the board. Jake Ball with a quick offload. Shingler doing very well to react, but is pulled almost out of the 22. The ball goes loose. Gareth Owen picks it up. James Davies quick to react, but Gareth Davies unable to hold on to the bar of soap that resembles the ball right now.
Well, we've seen with the Scarlets have managed to put some great pressure in Racing's 22. But the issue they've got is their attack is becoming a little bit narrow, a little bit predictable. We've seen a big, heavy, tight 5 of Racing either side of the breakdown. They get off the line very, very quickly. I think Stephen Jones there next to Wayne Peaback will be saying at half time, we need to show we need to put a little bit more width on our attack. We need to be a little bit more clever, whether it's one pair of hands, just offload. We saw it there with James Davis, just getting a little offload to change an angle, put a little bit of pace, a little bit of tempo, and I think we'll see a bit. They might play out the back a little bit more second half now, because they just need to stretch this Racing defence. It's all getting a little bit too easy for them.
Well, the likes of Dan Jones there will just have to keep a steady head as to adjusting the Scarlets' game plan, perhaps. You can see the way that the Scarlets have pretty much dominated the ball, but as I say, nothing on the scoreboard to show for it.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Zoe picks and tries to relieve the pressure of the position for Racing. Machino feeding back to Tales, or a quick adjustment from the fly half. Oh, and he actually makes some headway courtesy of the handling error of Alan Thomas. But great work from that man. Well, he needs to show early doors what he's about, what he brings to the team, much as his coaches, Trevor and Leby, were in charge of him when he was at Castres and was, of course, the captain. But there's the little adjustment there.
Cool as you like there, and I think he got the reward he possibly deserved, because Gareth Davis put an awful lot of pressure on Racing's first receiver, Remy Tales. But that's as cool as you like. You've seen both James Davis, Gareth Davis coming hard at him. He's had enough time and enough about him just to change the point of focus there.
Tales is a class act, there's no question about that. As I mentioned, captain that Castres team when they lifted the Bricklayer to Brennus 2 years ago now. Slotted over 2 drop goals in that final against Toulon. So capable and able to cope with the pressure and produce the goods.
There's been an element of frustration amongst the Scarlets at the moment. We talked about this very briefly earlier about not doubling up on errors, because through not doing a lot, essentially Racing have now gone some 75, 80 yards upfield in 2 phases of play. Essentially, the Scarlets have got to be far more disciplined and have got to make Racing work for the time in their 22 for the points they've got on the board.
Yeah, all the coaches will tell you don't compound an error with another error, because that just puts negativity in the mind.
It puts negativity in the mind, and it's also referred to as a coach killer as well.
There speaks the voice of experience. Well, it's the experience for Dimitri Zazevsky as he hits his man. This time it's Van der Merwe. Francois Van der Merwe still in the engine room for Racing. 7 years now. Commissar bundle his way another half metre or so forward. Machino with a little offload, and Andrew is going to nab the bonus point before half time. Again, Racing able to make the most of the short side and executing perfectly.
Again, it's all too easy, isn't it? After they've gone 3 or 4 phases of play, not offering a lot, and then through Maxime Machino, who's been instrumental in everything that's been good about Racing so far. He's got the ability to play with his head up. The guys in front of him are working incredibly hard. Ball retention is very good. The ball presentation is very good. The tempo of ball play. And this is fantastic. It's a simple 2-on-1. But he's done enough to draw Gareth Davis, who's very athletic, very quick. Brought him onto him to give Marc-Andre enough time just to run in. Didn't come any easier for that wingers.
Well, coincidentally, Andrew also part of that Castres 2013 trophy-winning side, and showing his capacity. But credit too to Machino as well, just timing that pass perfectly for the power run of the little winger. 5'7" he is, getting his 4th try of the season. A quality act. Machino with the chance to finish the half with yet more points on the board. Awkward kick, but he's done it from a similar position before. As the rain now seems to have ceased, sends it on its way, just pulling back, and that is a great finish to the half for Racing. The half-time whistle from Greg Garner goes, and really it has been all about the visitors. They have made the most of every opportunity to record that dominant scoreline, right?
Yeah, they've been clinical, but we haven't seen an awful lot actually from them. They've done the simple things very, very well. They haven't been made to work too hard for the tries they've created.
For you here on Sky. Right here now, it's going to be a big 40 minutes for the Scarlets if they're going to get anything out of this game right now. It was clinical execution from Racing Quatre-Vingt-Douze in that first half. No changes from either bench as yet. No doubt Wayne Pivac just finding out in the first 10 minutes or so whether his team can change the flow of this game. Certainly you look at the stats and the Scarlets tip the scales in terms of possession and territory, but from the 4 visits that Racing made to the opposition 22, they came away with 4 tries, and that is what, Ryan, was so impressive from their performance.
I'm going to say, of all the stats we've talked about this game and we've looked at on the screen, that's the only one that matters, isn't it? They're far, far more clinical. It's going to take a monumental effort from the Scarlets to get anything from this game now, especially with the experience of that Racing team. And I'm going to mention him again with Machino pulling the strings the way he is. If he keeps going and keeps playing the form, it's a very, very uphill task. The big thing for the Scarlets now is not to panic. With these types of games, the more you chase it, quite often you go away from time, the worse you can get. They need to have a good set piece, and they need to make sure they're just playing positively.
Machino threads it through for Andra. Now Andra just stopped because he thought he was ahead of the kicker there. Machino berating his left winger for pulling up, thinking he was ahead of that kick. We might need to have a look back at that. Greg Garner was happy to let play continue. James Davis looking to restart on the hoof, but I think the referee just going to have to settle things down. They're going to have a look at this to see whether Andrew was ahead of the kicker. And I think Machino might have to apologise to Andrew there, because he was right. Let's just take a look at this now, just to confirm the call. Yeah, at least half a yard ahead of him there.
Yeah, sorry, he's going off.
So what has he crossed with him at? Being in front of him as a kicker, or for not playing the whistle?
Playing the whistle, I would suspect. That you can see over anticipation from Andrew. Now an early call, and Andrew is taking his discomfort there. Looks like he's just pulled up a bit. He's going to allow Bristler, 23, to come on and get 40 minutes. In fact, it's him off. Pardon, the Argentinian flyer wearing the 23 jersey now tonight. So like for like in terms of position. Him off, who's been such a revelation in the top 14. Certainly will not diminish their attacking prowess or potential. Machino to his captain.
Good, he's a top good player.
Zewski, you may remember, finished their last European campaign, or towards the end of it, with a hat-trick against Treviso. Of course, their European fortunes were ended by Saracens in that quarter-final when Marcelo Bosch landed that monster penalty. Right, there is just a little concern on some of the play leading up to this stoppage, and the officials are going to have a look. TMO Keith Lewis conferring with Greg Garner.
Pitch, there's some blue footwork on
Check whether there was a little illegal tap dancing from a French foot at one of the breakdowns. Let's just have a look here. LaRue just trying to get one of the red legs out, but I think that'll be picked up.
7. So Keith, I'm going to red card him unless you tell me otherwise.
They've already had one red card this season to Virgil Lacombe. This is going to be a big call from Greg Garner.
I'm sure Phil John's been on the receiving end of worse than that. Let's have a little look here.
There is the somewhat petulant stamp. Let's have a listen.
Right, so 7. Okay, 7, please. 7.
It's a red card for Bernard Leroux. And this discipline problem that has blighted Racing through the course of this season continues. They've only played one game in one game of 80 minutes with 15 men. They've had, that's their second red, 10 yellows they've had, 3 times they've had 2 men in the sin bin in a match. Surprise in the faces of Ronan O'Gara and Laurent Labitte.
It's petulant from him. You know, he's been held, but is it a red card? You know, this is a game. It's a get off me, isn't it? I think he stepped on his own player as well.
Well, Racing are down to 14 men, because that man is going to have to watch from the sidelines. Samson Lee back on in Scarlet colours. He has made one return against Munster, but now looking to make a difference in Europe. Charteris picks up the scraps from the line out. How does that change the way that Racing are going to play these final 35 minutes? Imhoff trying to feed out to Mashinova. Well, we looked at the match balance, the match equation at half time, and look at the faces of Messrs O'Gara and Levy. By the letter of the law, it was the correct decision. So
you're right there, but the letter of the law was the correct decision. But I think, like everyone else, I think, you know, in situations like that, we've got a yellow card would be sufficient, in my opinion.
Makes you wonder what's happening sometimes to this game of ours. We looked at the Ulster Saracens game last night. Some big calls there on yellow or red. Bernard Leroux talking to Laurent Travers. The top tackler for Racing is off the park. As Ryan said, I think he actually got the boot of Zarzewski there, rather than kicking anybody in the opposition. Shouldn't do it, that's the bottom line. But
yeah, what we've got to be mindful of as well, this is a professional game now. There is no place for foul play, but that's, you know, we've also got to realise it's a game for big boys and big girls as well, and, you know, these things happen. I think there's any malice in that, really.
So, does that give the Scarlets a glimpse of an opportunity to push themselves back into this game? Hackenbauer sets it back, Schindler comes round, but again losing the ball in the contact. It's been a problem this evening with a wet ball such as it is. Hussein back inside to Casey Laulala. Mashinova keeps the move going just about. Van der Merwe setting back again, Rokafoko in his first receiver.
12.
Sitting so deep, Chevron-C, that it allows that red line to move up, stem the flow. But Julien Brugnon happy to take the shortest route to market. There's Dimitri Zarzewski. Was that an offload or was it knocked out? It's still in Racing's hands. Now Lana trying to thread one through and achieving his thoughts of moving Racing up towards that Scarlets 22.
It's an incredibly important period of 10 minutes here for the Scarlets. They need to get some points on the board early door just to work their way back in. They've got to capitalise on that one-man advantage. We just see from Racing they're playing very, very smart. They've tightened it up slightly. They finished with a kick. They're just edging the territory back in their favour. because you don't fancy the Scarlets to score from this deep in the field, do you?
I was going to ask you at the beginning of this second half whether you thought Racing would change their mindset, having secured the bonus point, having secured what you think would be the match at 26-0. Does that change things now?
Well, they haven't really had to do anything to do it, so we haven't really seen what Racing had planned to do. So for their change room would have very much been stick to the plan, stick to what we're doing. It'd be more to do with the Scarlets change room. Wayne Pivac, I'd imagine, would have read them the right act. Stephen Jones would have been having a little chat around the way they were going to attack. But now they're down to 14 men. They're going to have to tighten up slightly. They're going to have to play a slightly better kicking game. And I'm sure we're going to see a bit more of that man match to know.
7 off feet!
Certainly has been the dominant character through the first 47.5 minutes. There he is again, ordering his forwards into position.
He's it.
Former Agen scrum half in fine form for Racing, and there's the little delicate kick through. Van der Merwe doing well to keep his balance and find that touch line up. Van der Merwe, signed from the Approach World Champions at the end of last season, had a short contract at Saracens back in the day when the coach was Eddie Jones.
No, what a fantastic signing he's been as well. He, after on the back of a wonderful World Cup, he came and he's already established himself a crowd favourite. He had a fantastic start to his Scarlets career, and again, he's the type of guy that we like to see on the rugby field, because when he touches the ball, chances are something's going to happen.
Van der Merwe scored in every single pool match in that Rugby World Cup and has already got 3 tries in 3 matches so far for his new team. Forward from Chavancy is going to give the penalty to the Scarlets. A deliberate knock-on allows Dan Jones to try and find a position inside that Racing 22 to mount something of an attack, to give his team a bit of belief, a bit of confidence that they can get themselves back into the game. 5 times now they've been inside the opposition 22, but still there's a bagel on the scoreboard. There you see the harsh realities of those match stats. James Davis trying to control the position of that ball. Now he breaks away. Zalzewski struggling to hold him. Nasawi getting in there as well. And great work from the 2 of them. Now let's have a listen to the referee. He's going to have a word here. Ghana not happy with something.
Grab the hair up, play around the head. Grab number 2 around the head.
It's Paulino told not to go high on the French hooker. Captain tonight, a Racing was captain France against England in the friendly in the summer and against Romania in the Rugby World Cup. There's Davis breaking away, trying to exploit the smallest of gaps around the fringe. So significant changes in the Scarlets lineup as Voko tries to just dribble the ball forward. Steph Evans on to replace Dan Jones. Presumably Alec Thomas will move up into a familiar fly half role. Just looking to see how the lineup is. Yeah, there's Thomas wearing the 15 jersey but in as first receiver. And Lewis Rawlins on for Aaron Shingler in the back row as well. Steph Evans back on after an elbow dislocation. Just came back since that Ulster match in round 2. Tammy Kakenbauer getting out of the line quickly, but Imhoff almost releasing the player inside him that was Chavancy. Well, not the classiest moment of the match, it has to be said.
No, but they're certainly enjoying themselves, aren't they? You can see they've got the comfort of a bonus point there. The 20-odd points on the scoreboard. They're playing now. They're keeping the ball alive, and they're playing with big smiles on their faces. Which makes this French team very, 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 very frightening as well. Very.
Hard to think that just a month ago, Luke Charteris was playing in the quarter-final of the Rugby World Cup. Now having to reboot his brain, his body into club mode.
Yeah, he's certainly been a very good pro over the years. He's a guy who's been almost an ever-present, if you like, in recent times, and he's very much a go-to guy. He's got a huge physical presence. We often see him in the middle of those mauls, don't we, with his big long octopus arms, and he's affecting things. He's incredibly heavy and incredibly strong man, Luke, and he's a great man at set piece. But defensively, he's very, very good, and he's thrived out in France, and he's brought that wealth of experience back to the Welsh camp each and every time he's come.
Charteris will be due a holiday soon, because with the LNR, the Ligue Nationale de Rugby, they insist on holidays for their internationals, and he's already making his third start. Eddie Benarous has already had some time off as he comes off the bench now to replace Julien Brugnon, former Munster man.
Luke will be house hunting in Bath, will he?
Word has it, yes, there's worse places to live, I'm told.
Apparently so.
Or should it be Bristol? Davis out to Thomas. Hadley Parks, the Kiwi centre, trying to bust through.
14's off, number on stage, 14.
Advantage is there for the Scarlets as Rocafoko steps up a little too quickly. Jake Paul, happy to do the donkey work, happy to be the focus of attention in those drives.
Offside.
Thomas sets his team with position now to try and mount a meaningful attack. Sixth time they've been in the 22 and still nothing to show. James Davis, for all the huff and puff, been unable to find that vital line, the scything run that could have taking him to that try line. Jake Ball lets the forward, sets up in front of him. Sacked or brought down early.
It doesn't matter what I think, referees got his arm out, so playing an advantage here. I think they've got the corner again.
Scarlets trying to make the most of that man advantage.
There's a referee from the referee will be issuing them a warning here.
Please.
Ken Owens out for 4 months last season, of course, with that neck injury, so good to see him back on the park this evening after the toe problem that he's had. Now, how are his darts? Can he hit his man? Is it double top? Rawlins the target, and then comes on the quick drive down the blind side. The Scarlets have to make something of this opportunity if they're going to change this match dynamic. Gareth Davis out to ball, the call comes from the skip. The Scarlets trying to up the ante inside the opposition 5-metre line. So John sets the ball back. Laurie stepping through, play continues. Thomas trying to dance his way around those flailing, lashing arms, but it's still there. They still haven't got their way up to that try line. Success is 2 metres away. The forwards lining up. Barkley trying to lead the way. Again it pops out for Davis. Again his namesake James on his shoulder. The crowd trying to make a difference, trying to provide the hoil for their team to get themselves over the white line. Big tackle from Eddie Benarous.
roll away. Roll away.
Now, Chevonsey not rolling away. Is there going to be a card to follow this decision?
Time off. Just too many penalties now. Okay, so I'll give you time. You can speak to your players, but if we keep giving penalties away, then I'll have to do something else and just run the whistle. Okay. Talk to your players, time's up. Okay?
9 penalties too much for referee Greg Garner from the French team.
Okay, you want to scrum? Okay. No.
Well, with the man advantage here, the scrum is a great option. They're first and foremost they'll go at them at source, and then you'll see Gareth Davis with his head up, looking just to see if there's anything on slightly wider. It's a big period for the Scarlets. They have to come away from here with a try. Nothing less will do.
Another change in the front row for the French side. Tamefuna placing the impressive Sedat Gomesa. That's the former Chiefs tight head. He is not a small operator, is he? 134 kilos inside that shirt.
So with 55 minutes in the Scarlets front row legs, that's not the sight you want to see coming on.
Bind. Set.
Could make all the difference to Racing being a man down. He's got the technique to hold out Phil John.
Reset, just reset. Keep both binds positive this side.
Just a reset this time round. Here he is, made his debut in the Paris derby, came off the bench against Stade Francais.
Just keep binds
Racing
positive. You come round this side as well, okay?
It's the defending champions, of course, of the top 14.
That's like one corner until you've got a good bite. Just get a good bite, please, positive.
The rain back in operation from the skies, as you can see. Diluting the intensity of this game.
Bind. Set.
Davis spins it out to the left. Thomas no way through. Davis to Davis once again. Still that white and blue line is holding firm. Zazewski's taken a big hit there. Down in the front of your picture, Gareth Davis trying to get the ball away. Chevonsey again coming through quickly. Owens with the rainbow pass that's got a pot of gold at the end of it for Alan Thomas. And after 57 minutes, the Scarlets are on the board.
That's just a reward for this Scarlets pack as well. They've worked incredibly hard. We saw James Davis again making a great punch. He managed to keep the ball alive. There's great vision from Ken Owens there to see the little overlap. As you said, he's thrown in the rainbow pass. You know, fingers crossed it goes to hand. A little bit of bouncing bomb. He's done very well. He's identified the man on the ground, gone at him. I wondered whether he slid too early there, but he just about sneaked over there, Alan Davis.
I think in this weather you could probably start at halfway and still manage to get there at the end, but they huffed and puffed and really had to go through so many phases. Credit to them in these difficult conditions. They kept their concentration and eventually it paid dividends for that man. Now, can he make the most of the opportunity from the tee? Well, he has got his team on the board. He's also got a chance now of keeping his team revving that engine. Big changes off the bench. Zazewski being substituted by Kamel Shah. The number 16, and Gareth Davis off to be replaced by another Davis, Aled. Remy Tallez with the restart. confidence from Thomas, and just wonder how Racing are going to try and manage this game now, as Hussein sends a huge up and under, which is very well taken by Steph Evans. And Davis with a real bullet of a pass, watching him practicing yesterday on both hands, really hits his target very fast and very quickly. Hussein takes Racing back up out of their half.
Scarlets will be desperately keen to get their hands back on the ball here and get back deep into Racing's territory. You know, they need to get up in that 22. They need to eke out another try quickly. Now they're going to give themselves a chance of coming away from this game with something.
5.
Machino, the Racing number 9, taking over captaincy duties from the departed Zalewski. And there is his opposite, Alan Davis, getting a big box kick in now. Rokothoko thought that was going to go straight out. Good follow-up from Van der Merwe. Ball goes loose. Barkley banks it back. Just didn't quite work out there for the Scarlets, but there's what Van der Merwe gives you, the kick chase with such intensity, such enthusiasm, and paying dividends there.
Yeah, like everything else he does, the guy gives 110%, but like you say, a kick is only as good as his chase, and that's a pretty good kick. Rokothoko will be bitterly disappointed there. He should have caught it with a foot in touch and just played it quickly, but he's let the ball bounce, as we all know. In this game, you never let a rugby ball bounce, you just never know where it's going to go. But that's a wonderful support chase by not just Van der Merwe, but from John Barkley as well.
Had 4 seasons with Bayonne in the top 14 before moving up to the capital this year. His last was 68 New Zealand caps 5 years ago now against England. Here's the new components in that Racing pack. There is Kamil Shah in the middle of that group. Now he's an exciting player to watch. You've got to keep your eye on him. Member of the France under-20 side, and already a real revelation in the top 14. Has ripped up trees since appearing for the senior side. Had one game against La Rochelle when he scored one spectacular try and made another. And it really is a star of the future in the French game.
Off feet now, that's it.
And Davis feeds ball once again. Such an appetite, Jake Ball, for the contact, for the hard yards.
Yeah, he's one of a long line of Welsh second rows who put an awful lot of work in. You know, that's the mantra with which Wales play at the moment. It's about work rate, work rate, work rate. He brings it to his club game too.
Off feet now.
There's another man who's been working really hard tonight, James Davis. No way through on this occasion, but is there an opportunity out on that right flank? Tanya Fackenbauer dancing his way around one. Him off, pulling his man down. In fact, that was Chavoncy. And there's the Samoan giant, Paulino. Missed out on the Rugby World Cup. Was in the extended Samoan squad, but didn't make the final cut. Davis again. Happy to try and knock against that Racing front door. There's a lot of resilience in their work though tonight. Is it going to be open up now as Gareth Owen stretches through but can't find Van der Merwe? Rokothoko in the way.
Turnover.
Turnover's there for Alan Davis. It's a slow job though, and Rawlins is going to have to work hard to make any headway around the fringe. Sets it back again. Thomas. Back to Steph Evans. Pull back to this near side, and now there's just a little bit of belief beginning to appear in this Scarlet side. but they can work their way back in. Barkley, Parks and Owens trying to pull that Racing line out of shape. Van der Merwe, once again it's Jake Ball there.
Tackle!
Davis out to his captain. Good work. Huge tackle from Tamafuna and Van der Merwe. And this is going to be card time. Another card time. This time it's yellow. And it's gone to the replacement prop, Ben Tamafuna. So Racing down to 13. Is it going to be unlucky 13 for the visitors?
Well, Greg Garner had warned them, you know, with the Scarlets deep in their 22, put them under an immense amount of pressure here. They, you know, with that going wide to wide and playing with a little bit of tempo, even Ken Owens there, getting hit very hard at the line. He still managed to present the ball well, which puts it on a plate for the next arriving player. Keep that tempo high, just stressing that defensive line. Racing look tired here. They're on the ropes with 13 men. It's going to be interesting for the last 15 of this game.
This is the 9th game of the Racing season. It's now their 11th yellow, and added to the 2 reds, it really is an issue for them. And now, when you look at the last 10 minutes, it has been a real struggle for the French side since really Leroux went off, of course, early in this second half.
Yeah, that yellow card is a direct result of that start that's on the table there. They're under immense pressure here, so you're going to make mistakes. And the Scarlets have been pretty clinical here. They managed to retain the ball more than they were in the first half, which put them in a lot of pressure.
Chris Masoi leaving the pitch to allow Gomez Sarr back on. But there is Mike Phillips returning to where it all began. Actually made his European debut in January 2004 against the Borders. And now, here we are 11 years later, he's back in Racing's colours. And Machino leaving the pitch. You suspect the physicality that Mike Phillips brings to the game is why he's come on with at least 15 minutes to go.
He'll certainly bring a physical presence to this Racing team. He's essentially a 4th back row now.
Alan Thomas trying to find the way, skidding round, but looks like he's been held up. Ball still there though, and it's Lewis Rawlins. They make the most of the opportunity. They've got the second try. What difference is it going to make to the outcome of this match?
Well, I don't know. The Scarlets are in the ascendancy here, and there's plenty of time left on the clock. You know, quite often we look and we talk about the fact that you can score a try in 30 seconds essentially. So the key for the Scarlets now is to not panic. They need to maintain this pressure on Racing if they're going to put themselves in with a chance of winning this game. That being said, you'd expect with this Racing 92 team, with the wealth of experience they've got, with guys like Mike Phillips coming off the bench, they should be able to get back the grips of this game. Along with them with 13 men, they're going to kick off now. They keep the Scarlets deep and play some territory possession. This game is still theirs to lose.
They need more points on the board though. And we'll get 2 from the tee now. Job done by Alec Thomas. And the Scarlets coaching panel just believing that there may be a sea change in this game right now. The opposition with 13 men on the park. Changes in the front row for the Scarlets, and also Thibaut Dubarry coming on into the engine room for Racing. Just when we thought this game was pretty much dead and buried, it suddenly sparked back into life. Admittedly, maybe the big call was 3 minutes into the second half when referee Greg Garner sent off Bernard Leroux for a stamping offence.
There's no place in our game for foul players there, and it's going to come back to cost them if they were to go on and lose this game. But I still think there's a lot of rugby left in this Racing team, yeah, and you'd be a brave man to write them off and say, just yet.
Samson Lee giving his former Wales squad mate Mike Phillips a welcome to Parky Scarlets. Looks like he's taken a big hit as well. The young tight head has stayed on the deck. In back play you can see him just to the right of your frame. He just got himself back to fitness post World Cup. Phillips opting to just change the dynamic and the way that Racing are playing.
Dean, touch off the kick.
Taking some sort of cut to the head as well. Now this is the first result, the pool 3 of this weekend, and the Saints have gone to Scotstoun and done a job on Gregor Townsend's side, but they haven't got the bonus point. So 26-15, a good result on the road for Mallander's men, but they haven't got the maximum haul. And of course the Scarlets go to Scotstoun in the next round. The double header, as it were, before Christmas is a real Pro 12 derby. Now Samson Lee has taken a real knock to the forehead there. That blood on the back of Mike Phillips' head, I think, was from the replacement tight head. Let's just have a look. There it is. Whack. Inadvertent, accidental, but hurting nonetheless.
So clash of heads is always can cause some pretty nasty gashes. We see there the blood's pumping, the heart rate's going. You know, and head injuries tend to bleed some more than others, but he'll be all right, I'm sure. Samson, he's a big tough boy.
Well, number 18 being replaced by number 1, but Phil John coming on to replace Samson Lee.
What's your instruction, lads?
That adjusts the front row setup for the Scarlets. So all change within the scrum setups of both sides. Sharp, the replacement Racing hooker, sets the ball back for Eddie Benarous. These two young front rows really have a zest and a dynamic to their loose play, which adds an awful lot to the team's capabilities. Penalty is, I think, Paulino going in from the side of that breakdown. Remy Tallers has taken over the captaincy, immediately pointing at the posts when the penalty came up, just to settle his team down. No points since the last play of that first half.
By taking the points there, he just affords his team just a little breather to regain some composure, and you know, with a successful kick here, they take him outside that all-important 2-score bracket as well. You know, the Scarlets can have to go and score 3 times now just to win this game.
Johan Husum taking over kicking responsibilities, but there is the story of the game that's led to this point. Those 4 tries, clinical execution from the French side before Scarlets got themselves back into the game, making the most of the spaces that appeared. Johan Husum making the most of the opportunity from the tee to get the first points of the second half for Racing. There's Chris Massai just checking Brice Dulin is happy. As you saw, we're going to show Racing with their next top 14 game. It is against Toulouse. It's not going to be at the Stade de France. Understandably, they've moved it back to the Stade Yves de Manoir in Cologne for next weekend. Everything that's gone on in Paris, it's an understandable move, but it's going to be fascinating to see how the team in third in the top 14 work against one of the form teams really. Toulouse have worked so hard under Ugo Mola this season to get themselves refired and rebooted.
Right, time off. Just wait. You don't have any time on, just wait. Step out, please. Russing!
Emma Phillips, replacement hooker, hits his target, ball again, and Parks it is to try to crash his way up to the Racing 10-metre line. Thomas out to Gareth Owen, himself of course a former fly half back in his Ospreys days and was under 20s, now firmly established in midfield.
Out of the way. 19.
The big boot of Remy Tallez slams the ball away from danger. Dushan van der Merwe trying to re-establish position for his team. (15 against 13). Certainly for the next few minutes. The Scarlets looking to up the ante now and really raise the tempo of this game. Good work from Hussein. Was looking at things on the right flank before the ball suddenly scooted through onto the left flank. And Phillips just happy to wait and let his forwards trundle over to secure the ramparts around the kick. In fact, it's Benarous who's going to try and work into a better position for the left-footed kicker. The right foot of Tallez finds the security of that far touchline.
Yeah, Racing will be fairly pleased with that. They've managed just to regain a bit of composure. They've slowly taken the clock down. They've taken their time. They're very comfortable to break down. Very organised. There's a good exit from them.
Mike Phillips, of course, another ex-Bayonne player inside this Racing squad. So more changes. Tom Price into the engine room, and that man, Mike Collins, into the back line for the Scarlets. There's Price, the former England under-20 second row, former Leicester Tiger. Junior world champion a couple of years ago. Now looking to prove his worth over the bridge, as it were, for the Scarlets. Emma Phillips, will he look to hit Price first up? Hackenbauer, the man to be replaced in the back line, just looking to see how it's going to affect the setup. So Mike Collins is going to go into, I think, full-back role at the moment. We'll wait to see how that plays out through the next phases as the Scarlets try and mount another attack.
Way up, backwards.
Thomas out to Steph Evans. Good leg drive from Evans. That's the 22-metre line of Racing. Racing struggling to stem the flow from the Scarlets. James Davis trying to cut back against the weaker arms. Such an important cog in this Scarlets lineup. 16 counters now for the open side. Now they move it out a bit wider. Into real attacking territory now go the Scarlets. Looking for that space that the two-man advantage is going to leave, but the penalty goes against them, and credit to the resilience of that Racing defence.
The Racing were under pressure there. They were under pressure from the referee in this area as well, who's warned them twice previously about being disciplined here. That's excellent composure from Racing. You know, they've defended well as a unit. Scarlets' attack is slightly wider now than it's been, but Racing are able to get a little bit more space in defence, and they're just making very, very good one-up tackles. You know, the starting of come up the corners, showing you the toll it's taking on this Racing team, and that's down to shared between 14 men and 13 men for a large part as well. So, but look, again, we've seen some world-class turnovers here. We've seen, you know, Lorette again. He's a big, strong man. He's got a good, strong wide base, low centre of gravity, and he's on that ball. That's a textbook turnover there.
Well, Racing back to 14 now as that man Ben Tamafuna returns from the sin bin.
Scarlets under the added pressure of the clock now as well. You know, we're in the last 5 minutes. If they are to turn it, pull something out of the hat, they need to score very, very quickly.
Greg, I think somebody's good. Yeah.
Well,
Greg, he's
Lorraine
gone. He'd already
being
walked
replaced
off,
by huge experience in Yannick Nyanga, the former Toulouse man, making his third appearance for his new side. Laurie, who had such a big game last time he was here, try scoring that 26-all draw. He's really put in a huge tackle count, huge turnovers for his team, particularly in the second half. Five minutes left on the clock, 17 points the difference. Let's just have a listen to Greg Garner's concerns.
Just have a look. Come and have a chat with us, please.
Question is it going to be contested scrums with Phil John out of position? Let's have a listen.
I'll go on what you guys tell me, okay? No, you stay on the pit field. So what do we do? Uncontested. Okay,
Uncontested scrums because Phil John is out of position, I think is the call. Peter Edwards unable to return, and tight head Samson Lee with that blood injury.
No, because... So hold on, so that means if it's uncontested scrums, then he can't... So we can go contested scrum, we can carry on, can we? And they don't have to lose a man.
Opinion, and then someone has to leave the field. Is that right?
Yeah. So if you can't go contested, you have to. You can't replace the guy who's gone off for blood. Right. You've told me it's uncontested scrums. You've told me it's uncontested scrums.
Well, temporary. This is an awkward situation. Apologise if you heard any untoward language there inadvertently as the scrummage situation.
Because it's blood, they don't have to lose a man. Okay, so uncontested scrums.
There you go, you heard it from the referee. Because of the blood situation, they can replace the man, but not necessarily with
so you're telling me there's live scrums?
A tight head prop. And there's Garen Evans, the team manager, sorting things out and saying Phil John can scrummage at tight head.
I'm sure Phil will thank you for that later on.
Focus.
Phil John is not going to be a happy man in 5 minutes' time.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
In fact, Phil John is staying at loose head, so presumably it's Dylan Evans on the other side wearing 17.
Stationary.
He was having to play out of position as the Scarlets try and whip the ball away.
Right there.
Now just the solitary man advantage, of course, with the return of Tamefuna. There is Dylan Evans, an Australian whose grandfather used to play for the Scarlets back in the 60s. Gareth Owens just threading it through. Great work from Owen, but Chamonix anticipating the threat. Phillips with the ball and Tales with the clearance, and 4 minutes to go until the end of this game. Time to contemplate, Ryan, who your man of the match is.
Well, my Heineken man of the match, after a fantastic first half, we pull those strings, is Racing 92's number 9, Maxime Machinot. and he looks happy with that.
He should do. It was a compelling first half display from the Racing scrum half. I mentioned Le Petit General, and he lived up to that moniker, didn't he? He did everything, pulled all the strings at the right time, and came away with 11 points on top of it.
Well, it was superb to see from here. You could see just the influence he had over that Racing pack and his 10 as well. Le Petit General is the perfect term for him, because he pulled all the strings that first half.
Scarlets losing their fifth line out of the game, and their set-piece woes really destabilising their attacking strategy in many ways.
Yeah, the set-piece in Northern Hemisphere rugby is so important now. It just gives you that foothold, it gives you that go-to, especially in games where you can be under pressure, especially when you're points behind. You need something to go to in your game, and that is your set-piece. Again, it'll be an area of concern, along with it probably slightly narrow attack in the first half they'll go away and work on. But you know, there's some positives for a fairly young Scarlets team in there too.
Line-out take from Duberry, the former Biarritz second rower, securing possession. A messy maul, to say the least. Ends up. Who's got the ball? Chartres back, and Welsh terra firma, likely to be in Bath's colours next season, as the loud whispers coming from that particular area of the country. And Thomas with the free kick. Zebre, who are going to be arriving here at the Parky Scarlets next Sunday. 8 days for the Welsh side to really rediscover their mojo. They've taken something out of this second half, no question, but is it enough when they're playing against 15? That man advantage has been critical to the sway of this second half.
Yeah, it has been. I think if with Racing full strength, the Scarlets may not have got back into the game quite the way they have. But you know, you take nothing away from the Scarlets. It's been a spirited second half, if nothing else. But you know, Racing have shown all their experience. They came here, and the key to winning and playing well away from home is starting well, and boy did they do that.
Yes, it was a very impressive first 40 from the French visitors, and they've made history now, being the first time they've won in Wales ever, following on from those 2 draws, so that will be a real fillip to their mindset for the rest of this season. There's Laurent Levy, no doubt a happy man.
But if they are to go further in this competition, though, they're going to need to make sure they sort out this discipline issue they've got. They need to be far, far more clinical for 80 minutes, not just for 40.
The clock ticking down to the 80-minute mark, and it's just a matter now of seeing the clock in the red, sending the ball out, and Racing can send themselves home with the 4 points in the bag. We talked about how important it is, Ryan, for teams to set out their marker in this competition, get momentum early on. To take 5 points on the road, how big is that for the way that Racing could affect this competition further down the line?
Well, this could essentially put them in pole position. None of us are quite sure where Glasgow are, having had such a large contingent at Rugby World Cup. We're only just coming back to find their feet now. Northampton had an iffy start against the Scarlets last week. We put in a convincing performance tonight, but didn't manage to get a bonus point victory. So, you know, it's the all-important bonus point again. To do that on the road today for a team that hasn't played for a fortnight really does set them up now. And you know, the interesting thing is going to be, Wardy, is when they play that postponed fixture.
The feel-good seem to be coming back into the Welsh regions. How much of a dent, though, is that for the Scarlets tonight?
Yeah, I think it is. You know, I think